After a series of shocking incidents in the aviation industry, investigators recently discovered more unusual details inside a Boeing 787, revealing a series of new, worrying questions. This explained why Air India's Boeing 7878 Dreamliner crashed tragically not long ago. No one expected that a technical detail absolutely forbidden throughout the aviation industry would appear inside this Boeing. And what's more terrifying is that Boeing intentionally concealed it. Ultimately, what truth did investigators discover inside a Boeing 787? And why could such serious technical errors pass inspection? Don't take your eyes off the screen. This video will reveal all the secrets about the aircraft Boeing was once proud of. After a series of accidents involving the Boeing 787 line, especially the shocking plane crash in India, the company was forced to face a comprehensive global investigation. When authorities entered the production plant, what they found stunned the entire aviation industry. First, the emergency RAT system automatically activated even though the aircraft was stationary. No one expected this to happen. During a routine check at Phoenix Airport when engineers activated the auxiliary power system, the emergency RAT turbine suddenly deployed, although the aircraft was completely stationary, experiencing no malfunction at all. RAM air turbine is a device that is only allowed to activate when the aircraft is in a total power loss situation in midair, a catastrophic scenario. If it deploys without a valid reason, it is not just a technical error. It is a life-threatening warning. Internal investigation determined the cause was a fault in the central power converter, causing the system to misinterpret that the entire aircraft had lost power and automatically switch to survival mode. If this occurs in flight, not only does the RAT deploy, the control system may cut communication. Navigation is disabled and the entire autopilot system switches to emergency mode. A false signal and the aircraft carrying 250 people could lose control midair. The infuriating thing is Boeing knew about this fault during testing but chose to keep it hidden. No notifications to airlines, no software update, no recall. They gambled with passengers' lives just to protect their reputation. And this was just the surface because immediately after, the engineering team continued to delve deeper into structural details they thought they knew well and discovered something even less acceptable. Second, the pressure bulkhead, the life wall, was installed incorrectly. Rivets of the wrong size corroded from the inside. After the RAT deployed, even while the aircraft was parked, the investigation team expanded their technical checks deeper into Boeing 787 aircraft. And what they found next was no longer limited to electronic faults. It was in the structural heart where it should be absolutely safe. The forward pressure bulkhead located right behind the cockpit. This component is responsible for keeping cabin pressure stable at cruising altitude where the air is so thin that breathing is impossible without a pressurization system. If this bulkhead has any leaks, even a tiny gap, the consequences are unpredictable. At a testing facility in Texas, when engineers removed the insulation for routine inspection, they began noticing unusual details. Many misaligned drill holes, some rivets of the wrong size, even some rivets shorter than standard, not long enough to penetrate the load-bearing structure. Moreover, at some joints, signs of corrosion began to appear, spreading from the inside, something absolutely forbidden in areas exposed to high-pressure differentials. Worse, these findings were not isolated. When the investigation expanded, many other 787s manufactured during the same period at the South Carolina plant also recorded similar errors. This factory was previously accused of speeding up assembly lines, reducing inspection steps, and pressuring to meet commercial delivery schedules. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, immediately issued an emergency directive. All airlines operating Boeing 787s were required to remove insulation, inspect, and rescan every connection point of the forward bulkhead. No more superficial checks from the outside. Boeing's response: they stated the fault has not caused any actual incidents. But according to an aviation structural expert in Europe, this statement is merely a downplay to ease public concern. Just one gap in the bulkhead area. At the moment the aircraft is at 12,000 m altitude, cabin pressure could drop to nearly zero in seconds. If the crew does not react immediately, the entire passenger cabin will lose consciousness in just 15 to 20 seconds. Worse, reports show many aircraft with similar defects produced in the same period at a South Carolina assembly facility. And if mechanics which are visible can have such errors, what is happening in places that no one can see with the naked eye, like below the floor where the entire electronic wiring system is placed? Third, water leakage into the electronics bay, and Boeing knew but ignored it. During a technical inspection after a 13-hour flight, engineers discovered some unusual stains on the mid-cabin floor of a Boeing 787. Initially, they thought it was just ordinary condensation. But when the insulation was removed for deeper inspection, what was revealed underneath was unbelievable. Water had seeped through the floor and leaked right into the E&E bay, the area housing the entire electronic system and main control center of the aircraft. This is the vital core zone where all control circuits, power supplies, navigation, and safety systems are concentrated, and it is designed to be completely isolated from moisture, dust, and contaminants. Any intrusion poses a direct threat to safe operation. Reports say leaky faucets could cause a safety problem on some Boeing aircraft. The agency says leaky O-rings in aircraft lavatories could lead to water under the cabin floor and leaking into some of the electronic equipment bays. One airline found wet carpet in the cockpit of a Boeing 787 jet. Boeing says it has completed a redesign and it is working to retrofit its planes with new parts. This is not the first time. According to leaked internal documents, the FAA had received multiple reports of similar phenomena: water leaking from toilets, drinking water tanks, even emergency drainage systems, all of which could seep through the floor, through insulation, and fall directly into the electronics bay, an area that should be absolutely protected from any moisture sources. More alarmingly, Boeing knew. Internal engineers had raised this issue since the initial production stage. But instead of thoroughly fixing it, the company chose temporary patch solutions, patching drainage structures, and issuing more frequent inspection instructions. That means they acknowledged the problem exists but did not fix it. Only tried to delay detection. The issue is not the amount of water but what it carries. Dirt, bacteria, and especially microscopic metal particles often left from the assembly process. When these particles meet moisture and high voltage current, they can create smoldering hot spots leading to short circuits, signal interference, or worse, a mid-air system failure at over 10,000 m altitude. After some airlines submitted serious incident reports, the FAA was forced to act, issuing mandatory inspections of the 787's entire drainage system, especially pipes near the cockpit and the E&E bay. But they also admitted this is an extremely difficult fault to detect. It lies deep beneath the soundproof floor below even the passenger floor, a location almost no one disassembles unless a serious incident occurs. And now, as more thorough inspections are carried out, many old faults are returning, more serious, more widespread, and showing they never truly disappeared. First is the pressure bulkhead, a fault considered not serious when first discovered in 2021. But as the number of operating 787s increases, signs of assembly deviation in the forward pressure bulkhead area have become more frequent. In March 2025, after a series of internal reports and random checks, the FAA officially issued an order for mandatory inspection of the entire US 787 fleet. No longer visual observation. This time engineers must remove all insulation, use endoscopy and industrial photography equipment to detect micro gaps, corrosion traces, or even foreign objects left during assembly. The danger is that the fault appears right in the area under the highest pressure of the aircraft nose where, if ruptured, cabin pressure can drop to nearly zero in seconds. Oxygen masks do not drop in time. The crew cannot react in time and no one understands what just happened. The more thoroughly it is checked, the more people realize some things cannot be assessed by appearance. And this fault is just the beginning of the next chain of suspicions. Boeing once stated at the end of 2024 that they had completed repairs on more than 120 fuselages, ending operations of the Shadow Factory, where defective 787 parts were secretly assembled and temporarily fixed. But whistleblowers, including engineer Sam Salapa, asserted that the repair process did not meet standards. They accused that many misaligned joints were not dismantled and reinstalled correctly, but were forcibly compressed using mechanical force to fit the mold. This could weaken the structure over time, especially at points continuously bearing loads like during takeoff and landing. There is no way to see this degradation from the outside, and that is precisely what is frightening. But more seriously, the errors have not stopped. Boeing experienced a major crisis in 2013 due to lithium-ion battery errors. The battery type advertised as a technological breakthrough on the 787 Dreamliner. The main battery system was found to overheat, easily catch fire, and could explode under high-pressure conditions. The incident forced the entire global 787 fleet to temporarily cease operations. Major airlines like Japan Airlines and United Airlines reported serious issues related to wiring systems near the batteries, with the risk of heat leakage and electrical discharge in areas lacking effective heat dissipation. The peak came in the summer of that year when a fire broke out in the battery compartment of an Ethiopian Airlines 787 while parked at Heathrow Airport, UK. The subsequent investigation identified the cause as wiring located directly beneath the battery, not properly insulated, creating conditions for sparking and short circuits. In addition, some aircraft reported slight signal interference or power instability during ground testing. Although they did not cause serious consequences, they indicated that the production and inspection process of the electronic system may never have truly reached absolute safety levels. Moreover, there is another point that cannot be overlooked. Not all components on the Boeing 787 are manufactured directly by Boeing. A large portion is assigned to international suppliers, and this is a critical vulnerability. According to a Reuters investigation, the subcontractor MPS in Italy supplied substandard metal components used in load-bearing areas under the aircraft floor which support the passenger cabin and cargo compartment. It is estimated that up to 500 Boeing 787 aircraft may have installed these components. If these low-quality alloys are slowly destroyed under constant pressure without being detected, accidents could occur without any prior warning signs. So why can such errors still pass through multiple inspection layers? And why were the initial warning signs, though detected by many internal engineers, not thoroughly addressed? These recent findings are not the first warning bell. They are new pieces in an old puzzle. A series of recurring technical errors repeating year after year, test after test, aircraft after aircraft. And what concerns observers is not the severity of each fault, but the repetition. A vicious cycle lasting more than a decade. Fault, temporary fix, continue flying, then new fault emerges. From the moment it debuted, the Boeing 787 faced its first major crisis. In 2013, the entire Dreamliner fleet was grounded after two 787s caught fire due to lithium-ion batteries overheating beyond limits. Boeing had to redesign the entire auxiliary power system, costing hundreds of millions of dollars, and pledged, "This is the last incident." But just a few years later, from 2020 to 2024, a series of aircraft were found to have structural gaps in the fuselage. Instead of a public recall, Boeing established shadow factories, secret workshops to quietly disassemble and repair over 120 fuselages without informing passengers. By early 2025, when it seemed everything had been fixed, the bulkhead forward pressure bulkhead fault flared up again. The FAA immediately issued a mandatory inspection directive. Once again, the supposedly stable system showed cracks. Every fix seems to be followed by a new fault, as if this aircraft always contains another error waiting to be uncovered. Because of this, serious incidents have occurred continuously. In recent years, the Boeing 787 has repeatedly faced serious incidents, though luckily none led to disasters. But they show that instability is increasing, and just one bad coincidence could lead to unimaginable consequences.